Tottenham TV back here for yet another Tottenham update, and yeah, look, quite a bit to speak about today, and we're going to start off speaking about Dejan Kulusevski and kind of a loose injury report on Decky. And Paul O'Keefe has been taking to social media in the last 24 hours, speaking a lot about various different things. So we've got a lot of stuff from him today. And
he's been quiet, hasn't he? I feel like he hasn't given us too many updates recently, like in the past few months.
Someone hasn't been checking his Twitter then, because in the last 24 hours...
I'm saying before.
No, he hasn't, So basically someone asked him about Dejan Kulusevski, and he said he's probably going to be back in the new year now. He was supposed to be back around Christmas, but it's all gone very quiet on the Decky front. And it's something that I've noticed as well. It's just like we were getting quite regular updates on Decky. We saw him on the grass and everything like that. But it's just like he's literally supposed to be back any day now, and there's just nothing.
Yeah, we heard from Frank at the beginning of the season, and the following updates were he was hoping to have him before the new year, around December time. Even some suggestions, could it be end of November? There was some suggestions from a few people. So,
do you remember he did that interview and he was like, "Yeah, I could be back in October."
Yeah, he was saying he was aiming for the October international break, which always seemed kind of fanciful, but clearly it's a very serious injury. So you've just got to be extra cautious, and unfortunately, it's taking longer than expected. That's the issue that we have right now with him and Maddison, with these very serious knee injuries. You just can't rush it. You also can't really know when exactly. You can try and predict a time frame, but things can always take longer, or maybe even shorter. I mean, I think Bentancur, I remember, came back sooner than expected when he came back from his one. But sometimes it takes longer. There's just more. What can you do? I think we just got, and as well, for me, as much as I'm desperate for Decky and Maddison to come back, you've got to just kind of write off the season, because even when they do come back, can you rely on them to be playing week in, week out? Can you rely on them for big games? Are they going to be back at their best? You kind of got to ease them back into the fold as well. Look at Dragusin. He's a perfect example as well. A player who's been basically training for nearly 2 months now. Right? I think when was the first time we saw him actually in training? It must have been close to 2 months that we saw him actually with the first team.
It was the last international break, wasn't it? So
no, but he was training with the team before that. For like
it was about a week before that.
I think it was a few weeks. Anyway,
it's about a month and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's getting close to 2 months, and he doesn't look. I don't know how close he is. He's even making a return to the first team squad. So Decky and Maddison both have to go through even that period, let alone getting back on the grass, let alone getting fit again. So
you'd assume that Dragusin's got to be close to being in a matchday squad. I mean, he played those friendlies a couple of weeks ago now.
He's played 2 friendlies now.
Yeah, so you'd imagine that he's got to be like pretty close to being in a matchday squad. I'm not saying starting or anything like that, but at least a matchday squad.
I'd hope so. Yeah, I think so, to be honest. Surely it's going to be any game now that Dragusin's going to make a return. But, the point being, he's been literally training with the team for nearly 2 months, and he's still not ready. So it's that period he's got to go through.
But everyone's different, aren't they? And everyone's body reacts differently, and everyone has different healing times and everything like that. So, look, it's not great news. I mean, Paul O'Keefe says it's gone very quiet and it's weird. So that doesn't sound great to me. But
cue the rumours coming up like Kulusevski, like Solanke as well. I doubt anything. I don't think anything bad's going on. But obviously he was pictured with a doggy in Dubai, wasn't he?
That was a while ago, yeah.
No, a recent one. Another one.
It was last international break.
That's just a few days ago I saw one, him and a doggy together.
Are they back in Dubai now again?
I don't know if it was in Dubai, but they were together.
Okay.
So I don't know where that was, but they obviously doggy's now injured again, so they're probably together doing something. So let's just hope Decky is back as soon as possible. But again, as I say, I don't think we can rely on him and Maddison really this season. So we just can't move forward as if they're not really options, and if they are, then it's a healthy bonus.
Yeah. He's also talking about the new kind of recruitment structure since Fabio Paratici has rejoined the club, and he says now Paratici is now running the whole recruitment show with Johan Lang kind of tagging along doing the youth recruitment. This is kind of what I said in the summer, which is the structure I think it should be, where so he's basically saying, he said it in another tweet as well, that Fabio Paratici is focusing on all our main targets now, and Johan Lang is literally just focused on the youth products coming through.
Tagging along. Come on, Johan. We've got some negotiating to do. You just listen, yeah? Yeah, I think, to be fair, Johan's done a pretty good job when he's identifying the younger players, so I don't have a massive issue with that. I think Fabio... The thing is with Fabio... when it comes to identifying talent, I think he's very good negotiator. He's very good at getting deals over the line if we want someone, structuring deals that suit everyone. I don't know if he should be the one identifying talent. Maybe he should be. I don't know if he's the one who highly suggested Galini and Hill. I know he's had some good ones as well, but the good ones he's usually had, people point to Bentancur and Kulusevski who are obviously probably his best ones, I would say.
Romero,
but a lot of them come from Serie A and teams he knows well, in that situation. So you can't rely on that, can you? You need to be able to be a bit creative and know.
Yeah,
the market.
but also recruitment only goes as far as long as how much you're willing to pay. You know what I mean? So if you've got a new kind of structure behind you that are willing to push the boat, which we're led to believe, we don't know how true it is, but we're led to believe that we're willing to go serious and up the wage structure and all this kind of stuff, then maybe the recruitment from Don Fabio could be bit better.
Hopefully. I'm sure he'll like as much money as possible, but I would just also like to see a bit of creativity from him rather than just okay, this guy used to play Juventus, so let's get him in.
Yeah, I'm sure have we not signed anyone? Has he not signed anyone outside of Italy?
I'm sure. Yeah, well, I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously Hill was in Spain, but that was
obviously everyone remembers Hill and Galini because those were the worst two that he signed for us. But
was he the summer when we had Basuma, Richarlison?
Yeah, I think so.
Or was he done by then? I can't
No,
remember.
I think that was him.
Who else was Longley? That was his summer?
Yeah.
Wasn't a great summer exactly, was it? In hindsight, although at the time everyone's excited.
So
Emerson.
So Richarlison, Romero, Porro, Kulusevski, Emerson, Basuma, Bentancur, Hill, Udogie, Sarr, Spence, and the loans and freebies and Perisic, Forster, Galini, Danjuma, and Longley.
What you could say is probably the best ones have been from Italy. To be fair.
Yeah, look,
everyone outside of Italy is.
Spence has been a good.
Wasn't that very much a Levy one?
Well, they say it was a club signing. It wasn't
apparently
without Conte's seal of approval.
According to the sources we had, because Spence's agent was very close with Levy, and Levy was pushing it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's what we heard. Anyway, maybe not, but.
I don't remember hearing that, but look, this is when Paratici, I'm sure he had something to do with it. But Sarr, he's not doing great now, but I think it's been a decent signing. Udogie's been a pretty good signing. Gil was obviously a flop. Bentancur, if it wasn't for his injuries, he'd be probably remembered as a very good signing. Basuma flopped. Royale flopped. Kulusevski, good signing. Porro, good signing. Romero, good signing. And Richarlison is Richarlison. It's like hit and miss, isn't it? But I think everyone's recruitment, there's always going to be some flops in there. But I think by and large, he's kind of shaped the squad of what it is now.
I don't know. I look at that list and I think I'm not entirely convinced by it, to be honest.
I don't see it as too much of a problem. You look at pretty much the whole back four. We're all very happy with the back four. Porro right back, apart from Van der Ven, the other three are all him. You got Sarr, who are all saying could be one of the up-and-coming midfielders in the Premier League. Obviously hasn't resulted in that this season, but he's got talent, doesn't he? Spence as well, like I mentioned. I mean, it's not exactly terrible.
It's not terrible, but I don't know. We'll see. It's not a convincing list to me, but we'll see how if the coffers are released. Maybe he's got more.
That's
money
what it all
to
comes
with,
down.
We'll
I think that's what it all comes down to. Because a lot of these signings are, I guess we spent.
They're not bad players. I'm talking about players who could potentially have world-class talent. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, if you're talking about players that have world-class talent, you need to pay the world-class money and the world-class wages.
Yes and no. Or you have a very good eye for talent.
Yeah. All right, let's move on and let's talk about Guillermo Vicario, as Tutto Sports saying that Inter have reportedly set the foundations of a summer signing for Tottenham goalkeeper Guillermo Vicario. Talks between Inter and Vicario's agent are reportedly well underway. Indeed, the parties have been negotiating for a potential summer transfer for weeks. It's also worth noting that the 29-year-old is feeling homesick. He also has a growing frustration with the tremendous pressure in the English capital. Paul O'Keefe has also said that Spurs have started to look at goalkeepers now. I don't think for January, but there was a time not long ago that it wasn't even under consideration. However, it is now.
Yeah, I think that's because of his bad form and because of his erratic nature, because of his also, Frank wants a ball-playing keeper, and I think most top clubs also want a player who's capable of the ball at his feet. So I think it makes sense. I think the only outlier you could say is Donnarumma, but he's just so good, like in the other aspects. He might, covers what deficiencies he might have on the ball. Vicario is good, but is he that good that it covers for his weaknesses? And maybe you could say he did, but I don't know anymore. He's conceding a lot of goals now from outside the box, and beforehand I used to say, like, very rarely does he make a mistake, which I feel like from a shot stopping point of view, he used to be very secure. It's not. It doesn't seem like that at the moment. Especially this season, he's making a lot of mistakes from shots he should be saving. And that wasn't the case before.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened there. Maybe, they have changed the goalkeeping coach. Is he to blame? Is there something with Vicario's mentality? Is it a confidence issue?
Maybe what they're saying here is true. Maybe he is feeling homesick, and maybe he's just growing even more frustrated as the errors come in, and it's kind of a spiral effect. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. Something's going on with him, I feel. He doesn't seem himself.
Yeah.
He was a massive leader last season. Remember when he came back from injury last season, how good he was? And he was brilliant. And the season before, he had a very good season.
And there was even a little period this season where he looked fantastic.
This season, yeah. But I think by and large, when that, if you look at it now as a whole, that little period has been a bit of an outlier, unfortunately, because before that period he was having an awful time of it, and he's having an awful time of it now.
It would be a shame because I really like Vicario. I like his kind of attitude on the pitch, but he
like
can
his
be.
Parents.
Yeah, his parents are golden, but it'll be a shame if he does end up going. But I completely understand it and completely can see why if we want to upgrade in that position.
Yeah, I think he's a good keeper. Whether he's a top keeper, I think there are understandable doubts about that at this point. Whether he's a real top keeper,
He's had a very poor season this year. So on the back of what he's shown this season, I think we can call him pretty much just a decent keeper.
Yeah, and I think it's just his erratic nature, which is the big problem. I think if he could calm himself down and not be so amped up all the time and have a bit of composure, I think maybe that's something he can get. But at the moment, it's just something he's always had.
Look, at this point, look, he's 29 years of age. Like, he's not a young keeper anymore. He's going into like the kind of prime years for a goalkeeper. Like, he kind of is what he is now, I think. A couple of other ones. Paul O'Keefe claiming that there's a kid that Yang likes called Nathan Decat of Anderlecht. One for the future, even if they are that interested in him. I mean, 17 years of age. Apparently, he's plays for the Belgian youth setup, number 6 position. I know there's a lot of talk about him right now, but he is 17.
Yeah, so I doubt he's coming straight into our first team, albeit we've done quite a good job getting these younger players and keeping them for a year and bringing them into the first team. I think that's one of our, you got to say, in terms of recruitment over the last few years, that's one of the real bright spots that we've been able to do with Doggy, Saar, Bergval. So that's maybe something we should be considering. Another young blonde teenager, something that Johan Lang seems to like, Bergval and Kinski, and I think we've been linked with a few other young blonde players. But yeah, I don't know. Sure, one for the future. Why not get him in, put him on loan, and get him back? Yeah,
I'm just sick of hearing one for the future. My whole life of following Spurs, I've heard one for the future.
I agree. I don't have, to be honest, I don't have a problem with always looking at future. Like, I think there's no point where you should not look at the future.
Of course.
I think every summer you should be thinking about, okay, maybe get this kid, loan him out, even if it's like a 2-3 year loan, whatever. Like, always looking at future signings. But we've obviously done it to the detriment of our current team too much, and that needs to be addressed. Yeah, particularly 2 summers ago. Like, that's all we brought in is what people players for the future. This summer was a bit different. We looked for more kind of ready-made now, and it needs to be a hybrid, doesn't it? It needs to be, you need to bring in players for now, sprinkled in with players for the future as well. Last but not least, Bild are reporting that Spurs have joined the race for clone winger Saeed El Mana. Bild reported earlier this week as well that Man City, Man United, Bayern Munich, PSG and Barcelona all hold an interest in the Germany youth international. Bild actually also revealed previously that Brighton offered 20 million euros for the attacker last summer, which was rejected by the Bundesliga outfit, and it's believed that Cologne want to wait up until next summer to sell, where they'll look between 50 and 60 million euros, with onlooking Premier League sides who they believe to value him up for around 40 million euros. He's 19 years of age, scored 6 goals
provided 3 assists in 14 Bundesliga outings so far this season, operating on the left-hand side for Cologne. In the last international break, he actually got called up for the German national team. Didn't get an appearance, but that shows you where they kind of see him and they clearly value him. Yeah, interesting one. I don't know too much about him, but I know he's doing well in the Bundesliga this season.
Yeah, and I believe it's his first season in the Bundesliga. He was in Bundesliga 2 last season. So he's clearly having another breakout season. We seem to be linked with a lot of these players who are just breaking out. It used to be you get players, these kind of players from like foreign leagues and stuff, you know, after like 2 or 3 years of doing it consistently, then you get interest. And then like over the past, 5 years, it's like one good season and now you move for big money. Now it's almost like 10 good games and you're moving for big money. Like that's kind of how early you have to get these young talents these days, because otherwise they're shooting up in price crazily. You know, they're talking about he was subject to a 20 million bid last summer, and now they're looking for potentially 60 million the next summer after one good season. 20
million bid comes before he even has a Bundesliga appearance.
Exactly. So
it's crazy.
There's no stone left unturned now in football when it comes to these hidden gems and these young talents. So it's I guess it's hard for me to. It's easy for me to say, look, he's 19 and I want to see him play for longer to be convinced, because obviously that's true. I haven't seen him play, but when you look at these recruitment teams, they've got to find these talents before they break out, because otherwise they're going to be exorbitant fees. Look at Jan Diomande, played 20 good games. Apparently he's worth 100 million. Like, that's the level we're talking about at the moment. So it's pretty crazy that the transfer markets, either you got to sign a Jan Diomande before he joins Leipzig, or you've got, or all of a sudden this price is going to shoot up, and you've got to get them early. So, yeah, as much as we all want ready-made, which I do, I don't know. Is it worth pushing about to get this guy in? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, without having even seen him play, it's hard to say yes or no. But we all know that Brighton's recruitment model is pretty fantastic. We know Man City also like to snap up the best kind of youth talents and sell them on or use them in their first team. And he's already been called up to the German national side as well, which I think is quite big. So he's obviously a talent, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
There was also, and I don't know if you had it, there was also another Paul O'Keefe update I read yesterday. He was talking about strikers.
No, I didn't see that one.
He said, he was asked about, are we looking for a striker? And he said, I've heard they're looking at Samu Agahawa, but it's going to be a hefty fee.
Yeah, no, I did see that actually. He said... he said Spurs did look at Samu, but it's going to be a hefty fee. I don't know. That kind of suggests that we've kind of moved on.
Yeah, probably. They probably want 70 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that's something that Spurs should do, to be honest. Like 70 million for him. I think that would be between 60 and 70. If it's like 70 million euros, I think that's a decent deal to do.
Is there any reservations, seeing as how Gyökeres is acclimatised to the Premier League? I know players are different, but still, is it a bit concerning how good his goals?
Well, actually, Gyökeres did a lot better in Portugal than what Samu's doing. But I think didn't he do decently, or he was highly thought of in the Spanish league as well. I don't think he had too many appearances.
For a player, he was at Atletico and he nearly signed for Chelsea.
Yeah. I mean, can't just have reservations about any player coming out Portuguese league. I've seen him play, and I think he's such a good player. But I did think about Gyökeres as well, so it's hard to really judge. And it's like the same coming out of Portuguese league, the Dutch league, this league, that league. Like, your stats are always going to be kind of like heavily inflated in these leagues. I mean, just look at Darwin Núñez as well. Like Darwin Núñez, and then he looked like a proper finisher in Portugal. You couldn't hit a barn door in England. It's just mad, isn't it? But look, the Premier League's the hardest league in the world. You've got good teams all the way up and down the league. So, yeah, I mean, there's got to be some reservations. You've got to do your scouting good and proper. But because he's kind of had an upbringing outside of Portugal, then it leaves me a bit more positive about him. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we did talk about today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.